are.
Check, check. Everybody hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I'll be the voice actor. But yeah, of course, everybody, thank you all for stopping by today. I know it's going to be a weekend. Tomorrow, the gang will be back again. As far as entertainers, actors, producers, I mean, you guys have done it all. So, of course, a round of applause, if you don't mind. And now, of course, I'm going to introduce them from right to left. Y'all's right or left. But of course, Grant Kramer.
Guys, the main reason I came here today is because I just wanted to wish Justice and Lewis a really happy birthday.
There you go. And of course, to his right, Suzanne Snyder. Of course, the next two gentlemen, of course, you guys might not recognize them because of the costumes that they had to wear during Color Clowns. But Mike Martinez, sir. And of course, last but not least, Harry Blank. How you doing, sir? And now, as far as what they've done, they've accomplished. I mean, of course, they gracious, for you guys to be here. I mean, it's definitely. I personally grew up watching them in the '80s. My kids, I had to drag them into it, so of course, they grew up watching it as well. And I believe, Kramer, I mean, you had talked about a third generation, the grandkids that are actually watching Killer Clowns from Outer Space, among other movies that you guys have acted in. So because of that, I just want to say that I'm grateful that, I lived through the 80s because I think that was like the best era. That's just my take. But for movies, movies that you guys have acted in and participated in, and it's been great watching you guys and being able to introduce you today. It's an honor. So thank you guys. Now, Grant Kramer, of course, one of the questions that I had was as far as coming from acting. I mean, your parents were actors.
My mom.
Your mom. You see, now, because of that, was that something that was pushed on you, or did you see that and say, you know what, I want to try this?
I think personally for me, they never pushed it on me. I played a lot of sports in high school. Sorry.
Just trying to hug it up.
Hey, I played a lot of sports in high school, so I never really went out for a play or anything like that, but it was always around me, and I guess just the fact that my mom was already doing it, when I did get into it, it didn't seem, it wasn't like some distant, thing that was impossible. You know what I mean? It felt like something that was very possible simply because, I'd grown up in a family where one of my parents was doing it all the time, so it didn't seem like such an odd thing to be doing. It turned out, of course, it's never easy. You still have to go on auditions and get a part, but, at first I just kind of thought, oh, I'm just going to enter the family business, but the door was a little bit more open because of, growing up in it.
And I'll go ahead and speak up if you can hold on to the mic. Now, as far as being an actor, what are some of the things that the aspiring actors that might be here, might be wanting to get into the business? What would you give them as advice?
If people are interested in acting, is anybody here interested in acting?
Anybody? Somebody?
So, listen, one of the first things I always tell people about being interested in acting is to become a great observer and participator. You know what I mean? Because, being an actor, you're being, the old expression, I'm not a doctor, I play one on TV, right? So you've got to watch what people do, start becoming a student of human behavior, and then, just whether it's the local plays or anything like that, or your school plays or anything like that, get an opportunity to start getting up on stage and just building a craft. And if you really get interested in it, then you can always, move to New York or LA, where there's a lot of acting teachers, and it gets a little bit more in terms of the training. But that's what I would recommend: is first become a student of it, and then start getting into plays and things, and start getting up on stage. And sometimes you just have to work through the self-consciousness. I know I did. I mean, I was, terrified the first time I got up on a stage in front of people.
Now, when it comes to acting, did you do anything prior as far as theater, to be involved in music?
No, actually, funny thing is, I do music now, but I kind of got involved in music later on. Actually, in my last movie, Willy's Wonderland, the last song on the soundtrack, I wrote and sang it and stuff. But I wasn't really, I was, like I said, I was more kind of a sports kid. You know what I mean? I played football and I wrestled and I did all that kind of stuff, and so that's what so I never really got into the arts until I was about 17, and I was getting into college, and I got into an acting class, and I got bit by the bug, and I didn't want to stop. That's all I wanted to do after that.
Now, of course, being an athlete, did you pick on the guys that were taking art? I mean, were you kind of like that?
No, I was never a guy that liked to pick on people. I'm more of like the kind of guy that wants everybody to feel good about what they're doing. That was never me. I don't think I've ever picked on anybody. Yeah, and matter of fact, a lot of the guys that were in theater arts at my school, I still stay in contact with them and stuff. They're Facebook friends and all that kind of thing.
And one last question for me, because of course at the end of this, we're gonna have the audience, jump in and ask questions. When it comes to when you went for the role in Killer Klowns from Outer Space, now when you saw the script, what was going through your head reading the script? Were you thinking like, oh, nobody's gonna watch this, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it?
No, I mean, listen, you can't read a script like this. I mean, it stands out. It wasn't like any other script that I'd ever read before. I mean, I still remember reading it and just going like, what? I mean, it was crazy. It was so off the wall that, like I said, it just kind of made it stand out. And at the time, I had just been offered like just a really, kind of formulaic, those movies they used to make, like American Ninja and stuff like that. It was just like a really formulaic action movie. And I got, then I read Killer Klowns, and I said, well, there's going to be thousands of those, but there's going to be one Killer Klowns, and I guess I made the right decision. So.
Of course, being here in San Antonio, is this the first time being in San Antonio?
Yeah, first time in San Antonio. I love it so far too, man. Super awesome people here in San Antonio. I did, my mom was doing a play in Lubbock, Texas when I was a kid. So I spent, 6 months in Lubbock, Texas, and then I visited, various places in Texas, and I've always, enjoyed Austin and Houston and Dallas, but this is my first time in San Antonio, and so far so good. Yeah.
And of course, you mentioned
When is going to be the next Killer Clown movie?
Oh, I think he's going to have everybody start asking questions. Marius, you're going to have people ask questions now or later?
Yeah, we can do it right after, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and do 5 questions each, and then at the end, we'll open it up.
He's going to open it up for questions in just a
That's a
few.
good question, though. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And of course, when it comes to traveling, I mean, of course, right now your music, I mean, of course, you're writing, you're playing. Put that in. I mean, what's coming out for you guys as far as this?
Oh, I mean, music is still kind of like a hobby for me now. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's a hobby that now, like, because really my day job is I produce movies now. So my last one was Willy's Wonderland, and everybody who's seen that. It was a Nicolas Cage battling possessed animatronics, and so we actually made it I actually made it for fans of Killer Klowns. Something that was the people that like really crazy, absurd, fun stuff like that. So I practice the music every day, but it's more like my personal hobby kind of thing,
And of course, that's the reason you got to play music in that movie, right?
Well, really, the main reason is that we didn't have that much money, and songs are really expensive to buy, and so when we started getting the price tags for some of these songs, I was like, oh my God. And so we were on a phone one time and we were going over all these obscure songs, and we had a little group of people on the thing, and I just started writing lyrics while I was sitting there because I was like, and I said, hey guys, what do you think about this? I literally wrote it while I was on the call, and I started reading the lyrics, and everybody was like, no way did you just write that right now? This is, and I was like, no, actually I did just write those lyrics right now. They said, what's the tune? And I said, I haven't written that yet. So I said, give me an hour, and I wrote a tune to it, and I sent it to everybody, just kind of strumming through the chords on the guitar, and everyone went, wow, that's great, but as it turned out, it was going to go on I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but Nicolas Cage has a whole sequence where he's driving the car down these country roads and spinning around these turns and everything. So it was supposed to go on that sequence, but it was too late to put it in, so it ended up going at the end of the movie during the ending credits. But it was actually, I wrote it for that opening scene, but because we kept on trying songs, the composer had gone ahead and scored that because we didn't think we were going to get a song, and then it was too late at the end, by the time we recorded my song, to replace it, you know what I mean? And everything kind of worked already, so we just put it on the end credits.
Can you sing it now, Grant?
If I had my guitar, I could. I'll do it.
Now, of course, I did watch that movie. I enjoyed it. The animatronics, of course, freaked me out. That was one of the good things about it.
Okay, so you want me to give you a little inside piece of information? No animatronics. All people in suits. Yeah, and I actually worked with them all to walk like they were animatronics and stuff like that, each character, but they were all suits except for Ozzy the Ostrich, which was a puppet. I had two little guys in green suits behind it doing this that we kind of, we cleaned that out with visual effects afterwards. But everybody else was a person in a suit.
And I'm kind of glad that it was because for myself, I'm not a big CGI fan. I prefer people in suits, so because of that, it creates jobs and it creates more reaction, more emotional personality to go into the character.
Sweet. Yeah, we used a little CGI, just a tiny bit. I call it enhancement as opposed to creating something. So like, sometimes you'll see like, one of them open the mouth and you see like the black goop or something coming. Well, like just little things like that, but everything else is practical.
Of course, we're going to get into more questions, so I do thank you for your time. We're going to go ahead and jump
Of course.
next.
Thank you.
Suzanne Snyder, thank you. I mean, everybody here, I'm a big fan. Like I said, I've watched more than just the Klowns movie, Return of the Living Dead, of course, among others. Because of that movie, of course, were you afraid that you'd be typecast doing all these films, as far as horror, like comedy horror?
No, I'd never thought of that. I didn't. Because I've done so many different things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know when it comes to horror, a lot of times, a lot of the big actors, the big names, they get the big breaks in horror movies.
Right.
Now, for you, from my perspective, from what I see, it opened a lot of doors for you. Of course, they saw your character, saw your acting, and they figured, you know what, they get a lot of movies more than horror. So, did you notice that when you, after you make Little Klowns, did you kind of notice more doors opening, or did you kind of feel like people were a little bit tense, like putting you on?
So when Killer Klowns first came out, it didn't do very well. It kind of, it got great reviews from, I think, the LA Weekly, right? It got great reviews. And yeah, it got great reviews, but there was something going on with the production company, so it didn't get as big of a release as it normally would, as if I recall correctly. So Killer Klowns, I think carrying a lead in a movie helps an actor, but I don't know that Killer Klowns helped me just because it didn't do as well as we'd hoped. Yeah.
And of course, a lot of times, even for movies now, a lot of them, they bomb at the office, and then later on, they pick up a following, and here we are.
I don't even know you
Yeah.
can say bomb because I think
It got pulled.
I think it was more like they probably, it was a company that had like a deal with like VHS where they had to put it out of the theaters for like a week or something.
Right.
Yeah.
They just put it, they didn't promote it at all, they just kind of put it.
They just kind of put it out there, you know what I mean? as part of their deal to release the video thing, they put it out for like a week or something, but they didn't give it any real promotion, and they didn't keep it in, and it just got buried. So I wouldn't even say like it bombed, because in order to bomb, you have to promote something and have big expectations. It just was kind of there and went, and then it came out on VHS, but I think it really started becoming popular when they started playing it on I think it was like late night things like US midnight movies and the USA Network, and all those kind of channels started playing it, and then all of a sudden it started to catch on.
And I didn't embrace that. I mean, I didn't use the word bomb when it comes
it's fine.
the movie itself, because I was a kid when it came out, and I do remember seeing it on TV midnight, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the things that every Sunday, for some reason, was always my go-to. Even now, like on Sunday, I just feel like I got to put Klowns on there, because it brings back memories and stuff.
Thank you.
So, yeah, but I mean, as far as acting, how did your acting start off? I mean, did you kind of like, hey, you know what, let me try it? Were you interested in doing something else?
No, I am really shy, and I don't like a lot of attention. But I was going to school, and I had these opportunities and to act, and I started doing it, and it was fun, and I really liked learning about characters, observing people, and building characters, and so that was what made me become interested. But I'm not one of the girls that I know that was standing on the table singing when they were 2 or 3. No, not me.
Now, of course, when it comes to acting, I mean, me personally, I always tell people when my kids will say, repeat this, the opposite of depression is expression. Now, during acting, has this kind of been something, has this been like that for you? I mean, were you kind of like, you know what, there's just your way to express yourself, get out there and not be,
Shy?
Right. Break out.
I don't know. I mean, I think I just, like I said, I really enjoyed being in class. I enjoyed learning how to look at people, to learn more about myself and about humanity, and to grow as a person and understand more the psychology of different humans. And I think that was probably why I really loved it. And then, there's that, they call it that third wall or the fourth wall, where you don't see anyone and you're just exploring, and that's what I loved. Yeah.
Now, of course, I can relate to you when it comes to being shy. I mean, being a podcaster, I've covered mixed martial arts, I've been on TV, and for me, I always like to say I'm hiding behind the lens.
Yeah.
The one behind the camera, I feel the pressures on you guys, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. But was that something? Did you get used to that? I mean, having cameras on you, was that kind of did it bother you in the beginning?
So for me, I never really saw the cameras, and when I was on stage or on a set, I was okay. It was more when I would get attention off the set. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Now, of course, among Klowns, I mean, one of my other go-to movies is Return of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
How did that movie? Did you have to audition for it?
I did. I had to audition for it, and they'd already hired Marsha Dietland, who was the blonde lead, so they wanted to know if I'd color my hair, and so I thought that would be really fun, so I dyed it red. And one of my dearest friends, Tom Matthews, was doing it, so I was really excited to work with Tom. And and I really liked her. I thought she was really ballsy and funny, and I liked her lines. So I liked Brenda a lot.
You see, and I'm sure you've made friends along the years. I mean, being that you worked with somebody that you in that movie, did it make it a lot easier?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was really fun because it just comes easily to hang out with someone that's your friend, and Tom's handsome. It was easy.
And of course, once again, I mean, this is just in San Antonio.
It is, yeah. And I got in last night, and I got up early, and I went to a grocery store, and I met some Lyft drivers that were very nice. And it's really pretty here. It's very chill. Everybody seems happy. I know that sounds weird,
Nobody got
maybe,
word, that's what it is.
but it just seems like everybody's just very nice and happy.
Except for that Joel guy.
Yeah. The guy in the pink shirt, if you didn't know.
Probably out there anyway. I do thank you. Of course, we're going to open
Yeah.
up the board for everybody else. If you can pass the mic. Now, Mike Martinez, of course, everybody.
Thank you.
Now, sir, first off, I want to say I love your hat. I like it. And of course, when it comes to movies, you were a stunt actor. So, getting into stunt acting, how did that come about? How did that come about?
I think I was about 5 years old when I first found out what a stunt person was. And I'm kind of nosy by nature, you know, because I thought, okay, it's still a person doing this. How come these guys do it and these guys don't? So I used to try and find out, and it is back then, a long time ago when I was 5, they didn't have anything like the behind the scenes and stuff, but there were certain shows where they would show things and I watched it. And I just, you know, my brother and I used to play stuntman. You know, we would make bows and arrows. I was the younger one, so guess who was the stuntman, right? And so then, fast forward, I was working as a warehouseman. This is somewhere around 1970, late 70s. And at lunch we were doing this thing where you know, talking, if you weren't doing this, what would you do? You know, guys wanted to play baseball, one guy wanted to be a longshoreman. And it got to me and I said, I'd be a stunt guy. And that was the first time I said it out loud to myself. So I figured, you know, when I was in high school, I was a jock and I was still in shape. I think I was 24 at the time. And I decided to check it out. And first gig I had, I was doing the Wild West stunt shows at a place called Frontier Village in San Jose, California. And that was when I found out I was a ham. But I'm not shy, but I'm kind of quiet, and it surprised me when I first got on stage, you know. And then, fast forward, I was still working as a warehouseman, and then I took a leave of absence to work on a movie, Killer Klowns from Outer Space. And as it happened, things worked out, and I just never went back to my day job. And I'm just working as a stunt guy since then. Yeah.
Now, I was going to ask you, because you mentioned a lot of the movies didn't have behind the scenes. I've seen a lot behind the scenes when it comes to the auditions.
Yeah.
Now, how awkward was it for you to put on a suit and audition?
I didn't. I was hired for Killer Klowns as a stunt guy. And we went to go meet the stunt coordinator, a friend of mine, and we went to the Kyotos and met with them. And because, you know, we just knew there was going to be stunts. We read the script. I told Steven Kyoto, I was like, that was the funniest script I ever wrote. And he said, it's not a comedy. But we went there, and when we saw what the clowns looked like, at the time they were only white. They weren't even painted. They were just these white things. And so they, I kind of felt like the 13th Warrior, you know, because I'm standing there, and they said, well, somebody should put the suit on. And all of a sudden I look and everybody's looking at me, you know. So I put the suit on and we figured out how to move, and from there they just liked the way I moved as in the suit. And so it was kind of understood, okay, when stunts are going to be needed, you know, you're going to be the guy, you know. I joked that I was Herod's stunt double, you know. But yeah, so that's how I got involved. I was also Michael Siegel's stunt double for one of the Trinities for the driving the ice cream truck and the chase scenes. Yeah.
Now, of course, when it comes to inspiration, I mean, of course, you talk about wanting to be a stunt actor for 30 years. When you were actually doing the movie, you found the costume. You feel like you became a different person?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the costume makes the character. And the certain restrictions you have, like first off, walking in size 22 shoes. And then the limitations of visually, and I've been a gorilla, I've been a gargoyle, things like that, and so you get used to using the suit to kind of make the character on how you the limitations kind of control your movements, because some of the suits were bigger than others, and even though the shoes were the same size, you had to walk different in each costume. It was really odd.
And now, of course, my last question, should I say, when it comes to the best cast, the best crew that you worked with, I mean, I know it was these guys, but what was your second favorite one?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's really, that's really tough. I mean, IMDb has me listed as working in 120 films, so it's hard to pick one out. I mean, I worked on Terminator 2. I worked on The Matrix Reloaded. I've done some good shows. I've had a good career. Of course, but one thing I will say is when people find out I'm a stunt guy, and they say, have you been in any movies? Yeah, and which ones? Naturally, I go blank most of the time, but I kind of have, okay, well, I was this. As soon as I say I was in Killer Klowns from Outer Space, that always gets the biggest reaction from people.
That was going to be my last question.
Yeah.
But of course, everybody, thank you, sir.
Thank you.